another idea I got from Alan Watts that you just reminded me of. We have a very clear idea of what hell is. And as an artist, when you're drawing a hellish scene that is full of like death and decay and people fighting, and it's actually quite fun to draw because you can get in there and you can scribble and you don't have to worry about shading things smoothly. But when you draw heaven, you have to be very careful because and you don't really even know what to draw because it's like this vague cloud. Like what do you even show to draw heaven? So whenever I have to draw heaven in an image, I don't really know what to draw. But whenever I get an opportunity to draw like a hellscape, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. There's something fun about, because we have this like very clear idea of like things are happening in hell because it's all about the self. Like there's torture, there's sex, there's debauchery, there's all this mischief. And then up in heaven, it's like completely not about the self. And you can't even really put that into words or images. Just an idea.
Yeah. Well, I like the Right Use of Will series is one of the channeled statements constantly crosses my mind. That was said inside the Right Use of Will series. It was that perhaps heaven and hell is the journey of dead will and how dead will got there. I'm going to find the actual quote, probably share it on my social media now that I said that, because I didn't say it right. But basically, it took me years to fully understand that statement. And a person has to fully understand will first to understand how heaven and hell are actually the representations of dead will. So that's why like I wear what I want to wear and I share pictures of myself. It's because I'm still on a healing journey as well with my will. And I had this this talk with the elder Sarah, me as an elderly version of myself. And she said that she deeply regretted not sharing more pictures of herself. I don't know whether that's because I'm a double Leo or just because it was, I don't know. I can come up with my own things, but I'll spare you. So I share pictures now and she's very happy. There's no longer that thing. But my point in telling you this story about heaven and hell, why I brought it to my elderly version, is because people can only access depictions of heaven and hell that are representing their dead will, their lost willpower. So we have a picture of heaven that is representing just whatever we denied in ourselves, and we put so far that it's this monotone, one-dimensional realm where there's these mannequin-looking angels that are supposed to be the personification of sheer purity, and they're on these harps, and that's that. It's because that's a depiction of our lost will. We're here in this life, I believe personally, to integrate heaven in us and hell in us, ego in us, higher self in us, because whatever is that integration is no longer lost willpower. Does any of this make sense? I don't know.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. That okay. All the heavens and all the hells are within you. And I believe that we incarnated here to create heaven on earth. Because if you ask me what my version of heaven is, it would be very different than what your version of heaven is, which means heaven is a creative place. And we came to this earth to create. So when we're creating it right, heaven on earth is here. When we're creating it wrong, it's hell on earth. And right now I see a lot of people with these very dark opinions about where we're going. And I think that they are bringing that reality into, they're bringing that vision into reality just through like their dead will, I guess. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly.
No, you're right. You're right. Because a lot of times, back to the comments, and I don't even care. This isn't even coming from a charge. A lot of times people are saying things. And what I'm noticing is that the very thing that I'm being accused of is actually a mirror of what's dead will in them. So there's this pendulum that if we don't become conscious, our own logic is not logical. Our own logic is a reflection of our dead will. It's not actually representing a truth about what we're perceiving. So it really is about like understanding the paradox within nature, and how sometimes even these terms can be limited about service to self and service to others, because with service to self, we might go, wait a second, and we might accidentally lose will or never reclaim the will because we think that that's considered service to self. If we don't start understanding paradox, but also understanding narcissism at a deeper, larger level, because there are different degrees going on. What we're seeing is what you said. There's people doing black mass rituals, okay? Now, whatever I'm doing in my 24-hour day can never be called as narcissistic as that. But if I just look still without using them as a clear deflective buffer, because I could point to them all day long and never work on myself. Go, no, they're the narcissist. I'll never be that intense on the spectrum this lifetime. But if I just look at still where I fall into narcissism on this spectrum without looking at it as an attack on me, then I could see where I'm not seeing the other. But also none of that has to do with pointing heaven or one dimension one way. I could still look at the other. I could still try to understand truth and be open to it while still integrating my hell or my ego or, owning it. So there's so many different ways that paradoxically things work. And if we don't see that paradox, we can stop ourselves from growing and integrating.